Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Ramba Academy. Today we're going to be talking about the change list. This video is going to be highly coupled with the previous video, which is going to be the jump list. So I'll recommend you watch that video first and come back to this video. So what is the change list? The change list is pretty much a list which keeps a track of all your changes. But in today's video, we're going to show you how to make it more useful and more helpful to you running your program. And as always, don't forget to follow me on my Twitter and my Instagram. Let's jump straight into the video. Now let's open up the file, any file. It doesn't really matter what file it is. Let's turn on some syntax highlighting to make it a little bit easier for you guys to see and read. And let's turn on some line numbers so it's easier to see where I'm talking about and where we are in the file. Now what I want you guys to imagine is that you're given this file by your professor, your boss, or your supervisor. And they've asked you to make specific changes. They haven't told you where these things are. All you have to do is look at the code, read it, understand it, and make those specific changes. But I want you to imagine that this file is thousands and thousands of lines long. Now I want to show you a use case of using the change list. Instead of trying to memorize those specific locations where they are, you can just jump between those changes you've made. So for example, let's say I'm using the movements which I've learned in the previous videos. So go check out video 1 to 4 to learn them. And I'm trying to look for the calculation of a triangle, circle, and square. And then at the start of each of those functions, I want to print out calculated triangle, calculated circle, and maybe I want to do some conversions of those calculations. So let's just make some changes and just put some print statements for these functions for calc circle, calc square, and calc rectangle. Yeah, cool. So I've added some changes to this file. Now let's say that I want to view that change list, to view every single place which I have made those specific changes. All I can do is type in column change is, and that's going to give you a list of all the specific places which you have made those specific changes. So as you can see, your cursor or those little caret symbol in the right corner is going to show you where you currently are at the change list. So since we haven't been using or we haven't activated the change list as much, the cursor is going to be on a blank line. But these numbers on the far left column is going to show you the relative position you are to that change based on your current position. So this change is going to be 1 position from the change list away from the caret. This change is going to be 2 positions away relative to the caret. And in the second column, which is going to be here, is going to be the absolute line number which that change is going to exist on. So for example, if we look here, we saw that the first change we made is on line 93, which corresponds to change number 3 here. And then the second change is going to be line 99, which is going to correspond to the second change. And then the first one is going to be on 105. I know it's kind of counterintuitive in the way the change list kind of constructs it. But essentially, all it is going to be the last change on the current position you are going to be made. So it's going to be like a reverse list. Okay, now how do we operate or use the change list? So let's say I want to go to this change number 1. I could do that. So what I could do that is I could use the previous change command. So for example, let's say that I'm at the top of the file, or I am at some random position of the code, and I want to go back and change that parameter which I've just altered to something else to see if I can get different results. So what I'm going to do is I can press G and I can press colon, and that's going to take me to the first change or the previous change relative to my position. So as you can see that the caret has moved from a blank line to an actual change, because now we've activated the change and we've started using the change list. And then the current position is going to be 0, and the same things apply, hold true as previous. So let's see that action again. So if I press G colon, it's going to go back to the previous change. So G semicolon, it's going to go to this line here, which is the second change we made. If we press G colon again, it's going to go to the very first change which we made, which is at the very top of the screen. And if we have a look through the change list, we see that we're at the very top of the change list. Now, I want to show you what would happen if we try to go past the change list. So if I do that, it's going to say, give me an error, say a start of change list. Now, let's say if I want to go to the opposite direction of the change list, so I want to go forward to the change list, I could do that. So I could go G comma, and that's going to go forward in the change list, which as you can see is the next position. If I go G comma again, it's going to go to the last position. And you will see that these changes are reflected in your change list. Now let's make some more changes in this file. And let's start to build a bigger change list. So let's just multiply this by 1,000 because, I don't know, conversion from one unit to another. 1,000 as well. How's this about 1,000 as well? You know, just some conversion things, right? So let's say that we'll try to convert from one unit to another unit. So now we will have built a bigger change list, right? With different changes. So as always with Vim, you can compound commands. So you can repeat that command a specific amount of time. So let's say that I have a big change list. This is not that big compared to the other sizes of change lists you can have. So let's say that I know the change which I'm looking for is going to be the one which is located at 4, at position 4. Instead of pressing G colon 4 times, I can just press 4G column to repeat that command 4 times and jump to that original position. So let me show you how that starts. So if I press 4G column, you see it's going to jump straight to that position. And if I open changes, you see that everything changes relative to that position. And this also works in the forward direction as well. So if I want to go to the third one straight away, I can press 3G comma. So 3G comma, and you see I jump to that position in the change list. So this, as you can see, this can be really useful if you're just trying to change, like, let's say 3 parameters or 5 parameters in some algorithm and just see what the output is, like, really quickly, instead of trying to memorize where you have to change the file. So that is all for the change list. One thing, or one last note, if you want to learn a little bit more, or you want to remind yourself on what the change list does or how to use it, as always, with anything in Vim, you can type in help and then what you need help with. So let's go change list. It's going to have a manual about how to use a change list and how it's used. And I can do help changes as well. Sweet. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video of Ramba Academy. And as always, don't forget to subscribe and like the video and leave a comment about your opinion about this video.